Hello there, everyone, and welcome to Season 4 of Super Cast Brothers! Why? I don't know. But I'm Zantok, otherwise known as Lister, and we still have Jonno here as the co-host, which is the main reason why I scream, why? But yeah, Season 4 has begun. It's only been 2 weeks since Season 3 ended, because what is time off? I don't know, and neither does corporate America.
And we are corporate Americans, so we know that all too well. Season 4, we're four seasons into it. Not quite 5 yet, so we're not celebrating our great milestone or anything. But we've come far.
Does it count as a milestone if you go 5 seasons of a show with no viewers? Does that count as a milestone?
It's a miracle unto itself.
It's a miracle that we don't have a life?
It's a miracle, yeah. And
that we don't have better things to do?
Oh, we do.
You might. I don't. If we weren't doing this, I'd just be back to playing some game. Man, I would get back so many gaming hours if we never did this show. Man, not only from, the time it takes to record these shows, but prepping, like, the Smashtopias, working on the Smashtopia Wiki. I will get back so much time in my video game spending time. Damn!
And there's a lot of pre- and post-editing and stuff that goes into the episodes as well.
Yeah!
Especially on your part, and yeah.
Having to promote posts on our Facebook page, and your Instagram, because we don't have one for the show. It's just yours.
Maybe we should. I don't know why we would, but
I don't think we need to have its own Instagram page.
Okay.
Maybe like if we got more viewers, if we had like 100 viewers, I would say like let's do it. But no.
Yeah.
Man, we don't even have our own stuff for the YouTube channel that Mike and I do. We just got like, all right, here's the YouTube channel, and then I post in a Discord whenever I upload a video, and then he has a Twitter that he updates whenever he posts a video. It's like, it's just, fuck that.
Nice. Yeah, it's all a bit cloying and annoying, and it's just a necessary evil in today's world, unfortunately, to promote on social media.
All hail the mighty algorithms.
Yeah, except us. That's what we don't.
And each one is different.
Each one is different, and each one changes rather frequently.
Yes.
Yep. But yeah, welcome to Season 4. Exciting times. Yes, it's fairly arbitrary because we're 2 weeks away from the release of Season 3's finale, which was great.
So a season is just what we put out in a year. That way we have it in like a nice little chunk. We can always try to end each, again, year or season with a bang.
Yeah.
Otherwise, seasons are superfluous.
Yeah, it's done so that way we can do the last big on topic, the last big Smashtopian Tournament of Champions. Not to say there aren't changes per season. Like, I am in a new area of the house. This is going to be where we record the year. So cheers to that. I think it's a better backdrop. This is my bedroom.
I'm not
in
the house. Yeah. In fact, I think most of last season I was in this spot. I moved in the middle of last season. Early on, I think it was.
Yeah. Now I finally settled and have been in the house for more than a year, which is already a miracle in itself. So now we had to change it up by moving into another room. But yeah, I mean, you got the gaming setup. You have that's a metal poster of Twilight Princess Link that Eric Flamezone actually got for me one year. There's Jin Sakai, a Wind Waker canvas that's a little bit out of frame. I'll explain that later. There's my consoles, Mario Kart Hot Wheels, other shit. There's like a
man. I thought there was Amiibo there. Meanwhile, I take all mine out of the boxes, and I just put them places. I don't have a display. I really want a display where I could put them all just like give me a big old shelving unit where I just like put all of them up. I'd love that. But fuck
Yeah.
boxes.
I have shelves in here. I just haven't put them all up yet. And then all of my loose amiibo, which are by far the majority of them, will go up on shelves, including like above my computer setup here.
Yeah.
And I'll show you a few things to start the year out. I got this at a thrift store the other day, just a massive cardboard printout.
Nice.
It's not Mighty Pegasus. I mean, it's the original Smash Ultimate book. But I'm going to pick up a frame next paycheck, get that baby on the wall.
I've been needing to figure out, because like I have a lot of art stuff that I've gotten from conventions that I need to figure out where the hell I'm going to put it. I've shown it on the show, but like the question one is like frames. First of all, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm not a I don't know how to look at that stuff. I can't. So my thought process has just been, I bought that for you, bitch. You didn't know I did it until I read your door.
Yeah, it was like a whole year after you ordered it too.
Yeah, it was. So like I've thought about just saying fuck it, buying a bunch of like push pins. Just like, all right, I'm just gonna pin all these to the wall. Fuck frames. Here we go.
But you want it to look nice, right?
I do, but also frames are money and push pins are not money.
Fucking yeah! I mean, that's why this isn't framed yet, because the frame costs $40. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like the frame I have for the Baby Mario painting, somebody else got framed that for me and gave it to me. Well, they didn't give me the painting; they just framed it for me. But it's also very heavy now, and what I've tried to hang it on with just breaks. It's like, well, shit, I don't know where the fuck I'm gonna hang this now. So it's just leaning against the floor because I don't know where else I can put it.
Yep.
Like it's got a big old wire on the back of it for it. I don't have to hang it by. It's like, okay, I don't. I got push pins. That's all I got. The weight's too much for them.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely would be. There's ways to do it. There's things called anchors and joists you'll have to install on the wall.
Yeah.
With a drill. Maybe, I mean, it's not the worst idea. You can get a few frames, frame the shit, and then call in a handyman for an hour. And
how about you come down here for a week, and you decorate my house for me? You've done similar, right? Well, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's like that guy.
Yeah, in your old job or something? Surely you did decorating with that, right? I don't know what you did.
I ran a yard sale. I ran a yard sale for one of the homes that was selling. That was a spec home. That was fun. Oh, the memories. Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. I did change jobs. That's something that's new that happened.
This is what we do on topics. We didn't get to do this on our last on topic because we had a huge topic to cover. So now it's time to catch up.
You want to go first, or shall I?
I've been doing nothing but playing games. That's it. I completed 3 Hopes. I completed Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I am almost at the Endwalker expansion for Final Fantasy 14, so I'm almost caught up with the story to where it's at. I've been doing some weird Pokemon Nuzlocke shit lately, and I'm just waiting for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet to come out now.
Yeah, absolutely. Which version of the game were you getting again?
Probably Scarlet. Unless they show me something really good on Violet's side that I want, I'm going Scarlet. Because the Legendary looks cooler, the Professor doesn't look stupid, and that's pretty much it. Turo looks dumb. I know some people are calling him Daddy, but personally, I just think that's weird as fuck.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, nobody but my parents get the titles of Mom and Dad, and they don't get the E at the end of it. No.
Not past like 5 years old, right?
I don't know if I ever did.
Yeah, I don't know either. Well, how would I know? I wasn't there. Okay. For the sake of it, I'll probably take one for the team and get Violet then. Just so we're playing different versions. I ever play, which is a whole other story.
Yeah, you're behind on several games. You're still in like chapter 2 of Xenoblade 3.
Yeah, yeah, I'm behind on several
I
games.
have things to discuss about it! Finish the game!
I wonder how far Kelly has gotten.
I haven't heard
Anyway.
from him in a bit about it. Last I knew, he was getting to the point where I need him to get to so I can talk about it.
Okay. Okay.
It's like,
Some huge shit
oh,
happens. I mean, I love Xenoblade. Yeah, I need to get back into it. It's just a balance because now with the job transition, I am so far behind on Smashtopia Wiki with my insane 365-day
you're 2 months
project.
behind now.
Yeah. There are ways I could flood it in a weekend. And
Yeah,
just be
you could
done,
just
right?
do
But
60 spirits and you're done.
that would be easy. I am getting to the point where I will end up doing that. I said before I wanted to stick to the original plan because I had like August was where I left off. The first week of August I finished, and then I was just like, whoops, because I went through the interview process. I had basically 4 interviews over the course of 3 weeks that were fairly stringent, and I was stressing the whole time, wanting to prepare for them, being anxious. So I didn't. That was August, and then September. It's just been the transition from one job to another, and now I'm behind. I'm about 2 months behind.
I forgot about one of the games I played. Splatoon 3, bitch!
Oh yeah, hell yeah! There you are.
Fuck yes.
Are those new to your collection?
Oh no, I've had Pearl and Marina for a while. I
Sweet.
never got Kelly and Marie. Anytime I've
Mhm.
looked for them, they're like $100. Like, nah.
I think they are getting reproed, or did they already for Splatoon 3? I'll look into that. There's a few amiibo I need to pick up.
I know Splatoon 3 is giving us another new Inkling girl and boy, and then we're getting the small fry, which the variants of the Inklings, like, no. The small fry.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take the small fry.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Little buddy saved
Yeah.
my ass a few times.
Nice. Oh, Callie and Marie are restocked right now.
Oh.
They're available.
Where?
On-
Not at my fucking store, they're not.
You can order them online, I guess, or they're available nearby here in Tucson at Best Buy. So yeah, I guess I should. Well, is there anything else on your end, first of all, or that you want to share with the crowd?
I'm still playing Ghost of Tsushima. I beat the main story. I left off in the middle of Iki Island. I think I have like 2 or 3 main story missions left to go on it, and just exploring the island. But the last few weeks when I was supposed to stream, I've just been doing other things, so I haven't gotten to it yet.
That's fair. I mean, I would like to take part in those streams anyway, so that by grace, because I wouldn't have been available, we kind of didn't do it. So that's cool. Yeah, I mean, now we get to both experience. That was a game that I finished, and a game that I liked quite a bit. I mean, hence the wall art. Now we both know the essence of the story and can both say the tagline with honor. Slap it on the back of my bumper as a sticker. Fuck Ryuzo.
Fuck Ryuzo. And for a certain certain point of the game, fuck Lord Shimura. But then it gets better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I knew it was coming. I was like, there's no way he's gonna be happy with us.
Oh no. Absolutely not. There's a few ways that goes down, that the path to take depends on the person. I know which route. I think we took the same route. So
yeah, we did.
Good. Yeah. I figured it made sense for the character of Jin Sakai to make that decision. Yeah. I guess I should talk a little bit about what's going on over here. It has been a lot. I got into kind of the interweave with our discussion here already, but what we alluded to, what we said, yes, I swapped full-time. My full-time job for the last 4-ish years has been in rental services at a country club. So it was the job. I mean, my dad was a handyman for the company for a pretty long time, about five-ish years overall before he retired. And he recommended me and got me started over there as an attendant, as a secretary kind of, and then I worked my way up into department head, director territory, running the rental service, which is basically like Airbnb, VRBO, but private. Which politically, morally speaking, that never gelled with me. I was just kind of going through the motions.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah, let's just do work on private equity that I'm not even getting commission for. Hooray! Amazing. And worked with, there were good people there, mostly my coworkers who I do miss, but I for the sake of it having only been a few weeks since I left, I'm not going to say much more about everyone else.
Fair enough.
It was a time. It was a time. It was necessary, but now I've moved on to.
It was certainly a time of your life.
Yeah, it was a time of my life. That's for sure. I miss my friends, not the job, not the job at all. And it's funny too, how within about a week and a half of my having officially started at this new company, where I'm working in digital marketing and events coordination. So I'm doing a lot of what I've done for the Tucson Folk Festival and event coordination and advertising for an entity who now pays me to do it, as opposed to, a nonprofit work, not bashing it. I like doing it. Right. But it's good to be acknowledged for the thing that I've been working towards for many, many years, and to be acknowledged financially for it as well. So that's where we're at. And I was going to say, after a week and a half at the company, it's kind of amazing. I mean, that the previous position had its pitfalls, but they become wider with the 2020 comes. Like you look back and you're like, wow, this element was poorly managed. This corporate entity was not the greatest, because now we're working for a competent, well-organized company of, I would say, initial impression, good people who like their job. So it's all the difference, and I think I'm where I'm at for quite a while now. And I'm not going to lie, the pay raise is nice too. The pay raise is nice too, because now I don't know, we can afford to get more Mario Kart Hot Wheels. I don't fucking know. Yeah,
everybody loves those.
That's where we're at. Everybody loves those. I mean, you got Blue Shy Guy and Blue Yoshi just right there.
And Blue Big Yoshi.
I fucking wish. I miss that guy.
Cold Steel Yoshi.
Yes, Cold Steel. What the fuck? If I were starting out on the internet right now and no one knew who Jonno was, I would probably make my username be Cold Steel Yoshi.
Molybdenum Wario.
Yes. Somehow it's still better than Pink Gold Peach. What a gal. But that's us, I guess, for the catch up for first on topic of season 4. And what is our on topic discussion?
Our on topic is going to be a very hypothetical revision of history. We know Smash's history for the most part. It started on Smash 64. Separate was working on a different fighting game, and then it got turned into Smash. It was originally going to have original characters, and then not long after that, a sequel was made for the GameCube called Melee. A few years goes by. He doesn't think he's going to make another one. All of a sudden, he finds out, wait, I'm making another one? When was I going to find out? Oh. The same time as the fans. Oh, no. And, then later on, he thinks he's done again. Pull it back in. Smash 4 on 2 consoles. When was he going to find that out? Not, boy, I don't know. And then pretty much that game wasn't even done, and they were like, "You're making Ultimate now." It's like, I'm what? Alright!
Yep.
But what if... Here's the question for you. Here's the real question. What if the Super Smash Bros. Franchise did not start on the Nintendo 64? What if, instead, it started out as just Smash Brothers on the Nintendo Entertainment System, or in Japan, the Famicom, the family computer? How would it be different? What would be the stages? What would be the characters? What kind of gameplay could we have with a controller with so few buttons? Where would it go from there? Would it be good enough to get a Super Nintendo version? Would it go on to become this massive thing, or would there just not be enough, and people would hate on it, and it would never get into the light of day? Does Sakurai make the game, or is it somebody else? At the time, it would have been Sakurai's first game. Because Kirby didn't exist yet. Kirby's first game was on the Super Nintendo.
It was on the Game Boy.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Kirby's
no, wait.
In 1992. And then Kirby's Adventure came out on the NES.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Game Boy was more advanced than the NES, so that's where I got that from. But it's still... Kirby's still released in 1992, which would have been when the NES was already on its way out. If it wasn't... I think maybe the SNES was released by then. Because I feel like it came out in 91.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
So that's 1990, yeah.
That's what it was, yeah. So SNES came out in 1990, so that's where I got that confusion. But that's the general idea. That's the thought process behind this. And this isn't the first time that Jonno and I have had this kind of discussion before. You know we like talking about rosters. We've done it before. You've mentioned this, our session of ours. That's how this show got started, really.
Yeah.
And a couple years ago, we envisioned a project like this, but we only focused on the characters that would be selected. This time around, we want to think bigger picture. Not just about the roster of characters, but about other aspects of the game. So, Jonno, what are you thinking here? We'll just start off. Smash NES. What the fuck is going to go on with that kind of a game?
It's interesting to think about. I'm looking up here. When did the NES come out? That was 86.
Yeah, 86.
So
and I would imagine that something like this could come out. Because when we did our project for this before, making it with roster stuff, we picked dates that would be like, okay, we're only going to be considering content from games that released prior to this date. And we picked the end of 1989 because that's when the NES would have been on its way out, and they were maybe they want to make like one last hurrah of a game for the NES. That was what we came up for that.
Right. And that means Kirby shut out. Kirby did not have
right. Kirby was shut out. Kirby was shut out. Yoshi, Fire Emblem, Wario, a lot of things were shut out at that point. Star Fox. Any of the real Donkey Kong games. A lot of things did not exist yet.
No, it didn't. It didn't. Yeah. So that's where we're at. So we're dealing with a bare, like, kind of starting from the beginning with something that could potentially be seen as more bare bones than the initial Smash. It's interesting to think about because if Sakurai weren't on board, I mean, Kirby was his first title in 92. I'm assuming that Sakurai would not be his first title. He would still be a fledgling designer coming up. So they may have lopped this onto Miyamoto's lap or something along those lines. Let's see.
I know Sakurai said recently when he started at HAL. I just don't remember what that date was.
Right.
See if I can find out. Well, it's not saying it on his Wikipedia article. It just says when he left.
Yeah,
Kirby's Dream Land was his first game, so pretty much he started working there, and they're just like, "All right, you're gonna make a game," and he's just like, "I'll make Kirby."
Mm-hmm. So we're saying 89,
Yeah,
and
89 was the date we
Sakurai,
had set.
right. So Sakurai would have just started with HAL Labs because he was 19 years old in 89 when he made Kirby's Dream Land, and that started development. Uh,
He was how old?
Interesting. He was 19. Yep.
And he's been a visionary
Yep.
ever since.
Truly. Yeah. One of the greatest developers. The game developer who I have come to respect the most. The work ethic speaks for itself. The games speak for themselves.
Yeah.
But interesting to think about a world where he probably didn't start with Smash because it would require Nintendo having the forethought. I mean, given it's a crossover fighting game, even back in the late '80s, this was already starting. With some of the fledgling companies, Capcom, SNK. It had a precedent, so they could have come up with it on their own. Although it did originally blossom from Sakurai and Dragon King.
I'm gonna suggest somebody that it might have been. Gunpei
Okay.
Yokoi.
Oh yeah.
Kid Icarus, Metroid, R.O.B, the Game Boy.
Mm-hmm.
All of those were his. I could
Mm-hmm.
definitely see that falling under his direction.
He was an innovator, that's for sure. And it's really, I mean, he made the Virtual Boy. We're not going to hold that against him.
It's part of why he left the company.
Mm-hmm.
The Virtual Boy and then the Game Boy Pocket being more successful than the Game Boy. It was just like, I'm not saying that's why he left, but it was after those things occurred.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, it's like how in Iwata's final years, he
created
unfortunately was pushed over to Wii
Tamagotchi.
U. And okay. But Yokoi,
He left Nintendo
for the Game Boy.
and made the Tamagotchi.
Oh yeah, I see. We're on the same wiki article.
Mind blown.
Mind blown indeed. To think,
and the fucking Wonder Swan.
Yep.
Oh my god. Yeah, I'm nominating Gunpei Yokoi as the creator of the original Smash Brothers for this.
He has Jameson here as well, so I vote for him too.
I don't know what that means,
he was
okay.
J. Jonah Jameson.
He's one that supervised Miyamoto making Donkey Kong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
if Miyamoto is the what do they call Miyamoto? Is it like the father of gaming or grandfather of gaming? Whichever one it is, Gunpei is the next step up.
I think it's the father or the godfather. So yeah, say that he is the grandfather of gaming.
He's the grandpa.
Yes, he is. Just like from Tamagotchi. Just kidding. To think what could change in Gunpei Yokoi's life if he had stayed on with the company and started Smash Brothers.
I mean, this would be before he left, so.
Yeah. Interesting.
Because he didn't leave until 96, so. Which, when did I... And I had proposed the second that the SNES Smash, its cutoff date was the end of 1995, so maybe he makes both the two games and then Sakurai takes over with 64.
Which is his starting point in our time.
Yeah. This is making sense in my head.
It's probably actually happened in another reality already. My God.
In an infinite number of universes, we made Smash Brothers.
Yep. Oh God, and the grand calculus of the multiverse, indeed. Good Lord. Okay, so Gunpei Yokoi is the director. You got that settled out.
Yep.
He has quite the rich portfolio, as we can see here. I mean, he contributed greatly to the Game Boy, supervised Donkey Kong, Mario Brothers. So Kid Icarus, the Metroid, R.O.B. Yeah.
He even was he worked on some of the old toys, the Ultra Hand. That was him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was the man. Like, he was the guy at Nintendo in this era. Miyamoto being an up and comer still, even with Mario Brothers coming out.
He died a year after he left Nintendo.
That's what I was alluding to after like what could have changed in his life. A lot of things. It was a car crash, unfortunately.
Hmm.
That was not his fault.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good guy.
Oh, I
Unfortunate.
understand why he left now. According to the same thing, the Virtual Boy was not ready. He was like, guys, no, this is not ready to be sent out yet. Nintendo told him, nope, we're sending it because we want to look for the N64 instead. And it failed when he left. He said, fuck you, I'm out. Fair enough.
That's fair.
Fair
That
enough.
is fair. Yeah, that was during what the still during the Yamauchi era, which I mean lasted all the way up until I think the GameCube's inception. And Mr. Yamauchi was not necessarily the most gamer friendly CEO. So, being a stalwart businessman, he was just go go go, my way or the highway is how I kind of inferred from reading about him in the past. So that does not surprise me. Um, Yokoi was right to leave then.
Yeah.
Uh, with that being said, we could have gotten a Virtual Boy Smash Brothers if he stuck around.
We could have gotten Game & Watch Smash Brothers because he made that too.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Christ,
Yeah,
man.
right. Oh, we're starting too late. We need to go back to the Game and Watch. God. So okay, that's a great direction though. That's a great director. So we got that squared away. Where do we go next? I think the biggest the biggest thing is like what are the characters, what are the stages. I think that's the meat that everyone wants to discuss.
Yeah.
I think before that though, one other thing that's been on my mind is you have an NES.
Mm-hmm.
You've got what? 5 buttons. 2 of them are select and start. So
You
really
have
you
a
have a directional
D-pad,
pad
you
and
have
an D.
start and select, and you have A and B, and that's all the
Mm-hmm.
buttons that you have. So there's not,
Mm-hmm.
like, so you can still have your standard attacks, you can have your special
Mm-hmm.
attacks, you got up for your jumps, down for your
Mm-hmm.
crouch, left and right for movement. Start has to pause the game, obviously, but there's no L and R for grabs or shields, there is no C stick for smash attacks. Theoretically, you could
Mm-hmm.
have the select button be like a grab or a shield, either or. But
Mm-hmm.
there's like you can't. There's a lot that you can't do there. I don't think we much like how Smash 64 didn't have side specials. I don't think we'd have side specials in this.
Mm-hmm.
It would. I don't know what it will turn into, but I don't think we'd have that. Whatever 64 did when if you press side in an attack, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But it
Mm-hmm.
definitely be a lot more limited. The designs. I'd be curious how characters that have very different settings and sprite designs across their games would have a more homogenized look in Smash. Because yeah, I mean
Mm-hmm.
Smash 64, you still have characters like Link and Mario who look vastly different in their games, and Pikachu and fucking Ness. But
Mm-hmm.
it's one thing doing that with 3D models, being able to make them fit together. Sprite wise, it'd be a little bit more challenging, I think, because that's a whole lot more
Definitely.
animations you gotta have too. You don't
Yeah.
like Mario One is just jump, run, stand, and dead, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
But you'd have to have a fuck ton more.
You
Like
would.
we probably wouldn't even have like multiple A attacks. It'd
Mm-hmm.
probably just be like the one standard punch. That's what it is. There
I
wouldn't be a
was wondering if we'd
combo.
have multiple specials or just the one special.
I think if it's since it's a platform fighter, I think they would still have an up special.
Mm-hmm.
Down special is a
That's true.
question though. I don't know. I think they could, but it also depends like how much can the Famicom or NES do? How much
Mm-hmm.
data can it hold?
Mm-hmm.
I'm I don't have that technical knowledge, so I can't really answer that. But it
Mm-hmm.
is a question you have to think about.
Yeah, and you have to think about the color palette as well. I mean, it's 8-bit because only 8 colors can be on the screen at once. There's only so much memory to go around on an NES cartridge. I don't have the numbers either, but I know from watching video game documentaries and reading about it, it's pretty low. And that's why
How many
NES
colors
games,
did you
yeah,
say? How many colors?
8, I think, 8, I think.
So I imagine here's what I'm gonna guess that they would end up doing. First of all, there's gonna be a limited amount of stages. Like I would guess 4, maybe 6. stages.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Mm-hmm.
color palette of that stage will determine the costumes that the characters are going to wear on that stage. That way, they
Oh.
can give them
Yeah.
color costumes that have the same colors that are available, but they'll also have to make sure that the colors for each character aren't too much where they'll blend into the stage.
Mm-hmm.
This also
Mm-hmm.
means that in order to make this work, you wouldn't be able to have mirror matches. You can't have two Marios on the same stage because then they're going to look the same.
Yeah.
You'd
Yeah.
also only be able to have
Absolutely.
two players. That you can't have a four-man fight when there's only two controllers.
Mm-hmm.
Smash on the NES would be just a 1v1 game, and then Sakurai becomes the madman that turns it into a four-player free-for-all.
And then an 8-player later on.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Yeah. Still hasn't quite been perfected yet, but it's there.
The fact that madman tried to make it work on GameCube.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Dude!
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Smash 64 blew the gates down, and Melee really truly expanded that world and made Smash a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
And we're still in that era. It'll be so interesting to see when we discuss those games that actually exist, how they would differ
Yeah.
in this timeline. But from Yokoi-san to Sakurai. I was looking up here, like how does, because there's fairly rudimentary games on the NES. That's another thing I was going to say. The memory is not very high. That's why so many NES games were rock hard difficult, because if this is something Sakurai said on Sakurai Creates, his YouTube channel, and talking about like his design philosophy behind Kirby's Adventure, and how he made it more accessible and easier, and some of the ways that he worked with the limited space on the NES to make it a accessible yet kind of lengthy game for the NES. But that's why he said that's why you had games like Ryjar or Castlevania 2 or whatever shovelware shit came out that was super hard, because that was a tactic. It was like an arcade tactic. They're like, we don't have a whole lot of game here, so we're just going to make it super hard to get through it.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But
Whereas nowadays, games get padding from side quests. Back then, the padding was the difficulty.
Yeah, absolutely. Side quests and day one DLC and all sorts of shit. Yeah, Xenoblade. For starters.
I didn't download the DLC because so far the DLC has just been like, do you want to have a different color of your standard shirt? No, I don't.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Why the
Right.
fuck?
They do have a new.
Do you want challenge mode?
Mm-hmm.
No, I want story.
Hell no. Yeah.
Do you want a new character? Kinda. What about swimsuits? No! Give me story!
Mm-hmm.
Damn it, Xenoblade!
It's the new character associated with the story, I wonder.
Yeah, they'll have their own Blade quests, I'm sure, because you gotta recruit them.
Oh yeah.
But I want the big story edition that they've said we're gonna get in the final DLC, which I'll have to buy all of it to get.
But cheers. But I was looking up, because Nintendo had fairly rudimentary beat 'em ups and fighters they tried to make happen, like Urban Champion, which is critically panned even back then.
Urban Champion, Punch Out,
oh yeah,
Pro Wrestling.
Mm-hmm. Punch Out was the standout for sure, but yeah, Pro Wrestling, Urban Champion, they both existed at the time.
Joy Mecha Fight came shortly after.
Yeah, true. Yes.
It wasn't Nintendo, but the original Street Fighter came out in that general time frame. Not after it came out after our cutoff date, but it came out in that general era of time.
Yeah.
A lot of people were trying to make fighting games.
There was a horrible Street Fighter platform that came out on the NES in the mid '90s too, based after some movie where they time travel to the future. But I was looking, like there are very successful beat 'em ups on the NES. There's Double Dragon. There's TMNT. So I'm looking at Double Dragon on the NES here and how they did it, because perhaps Yokoi would be looking to successful beat 'em up or fighters on the NES and saying this is kind of what we have to work with. So again, they use the directional pad to control the character, obviously. but they press the A button for a punch, the B button for a kick. Okay, so that's your standard and your special, obviously, as we discussed. They press A and B together in Double Dragon to jump, which is interesting.
Well, okay.
It's just
Well, Holly, hang on. I'm looking at Double Dragon here,
yeah,
and this isn't. This is more of a
it
if
is
I'm
a beat
looking,
'em up.
yeah, it's a
Yeah,
side-scrolling beat 'em up. So they're working in a 3D plane. So that makes sense
they
because
are.
up is
They are.
moving up, not jump.
Hmm. Um, so more or less, I mean, it's just proving what we already said. There's only so much you
Honestly,
can do.
honestly,
Yeah.
original like NES Smash could be in that kind of plane instead of being a platform fighter. Maybe it is something like that, and maybe they continue that trend. Gunpei work making on SNES, but then Sakurai
Mhm.
comes along and he changes the game entirely into being a platform fighter. Maybe
Mhm.
that's what occurs.
Maybe that is what occurs. A beat 'em up Smash Brothers would be interesting. Can we get that on the eShop? Um, yeah, you're right. I mean, the best fighting style games on the NES, they were your Battletoads, Double Dragon, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
Yeah.
River City Ransom. They are all beat 'em ups. So that might be the way they go because then I don't even think that they had a proper. Oh, they had a couple that were kind of pitiful. They had Kung Fu, of course. They had Karateka, but most everything else is a beat 'em up.
Maybe that's the way to go
So
for NES Smash then.
maybe so. Although I am looking into Joy Mech Fight too. It came out in '93, so it's been a little later, but that is a traditional 2D plane fighter. Um,
But it's a traditional shooting plane fighter that's still not a platform fighter.
that's true as well. That's true as well. There are 36 characters in Joy Mech Fight on the Famicom. Jesus
Now,
Christ.
to be fair, those are going to be a lot simpler character designs. But
Yeah, yeah, true. Still, what the fuck? Still, like, wow.
apparently,
Um,
there's a platform fighter that released in 1995. Now, again, this is after our cutoff date,
mhm.
but it was made by Namco, the Outfoxies.
Interesting.
Hmm. Okay.
Um,
Interesting.
okay.
It doesn't
Is
say
there anything
strictly
we
that it
can?
was the original, but it was an early one.
Mhm. I have never heard of this game until literally right this second.
Yeah, same.
And interesting. It was a arcade game.
Yep.
And it looks like a 16-bit. It's definitely just an era above where we're working with, but it might be something we
And it
can take
wasn't,
from.
and it was still on an HP system and not a ring out system,
Hmm.
which our NES
Interesting.
Smash would have to be an HP system as well if we're going with the beat 'em up style.
Right. Oh, sweet Lord. This the, the gameplay is like crazy.
I mean, that's not
Yeah.
a surprise.
No, it's not. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, after witnessing someone get eaten by sharks, I'm done with that video. Uh,
What?
mhm. Yeah.
Okay.
What?
So I think at this point we've established that we've nominated Gunpei Yokoi as our game director. We figured out it's going to be a brawling beat 'em up style fighter game instead of a platform fighter for the first game.
Interesting, right?
Limited amount of stages.
Mm-hmm.
Characters would have to be a small amount because they got to work on. I mean, it's got to be data for it, and they're going to be a lot more complex than fucking Joy Mecha Fight.
Mm-hmm.
But as well, the color palette, they have to find a way to homogenize it
They do.
without characters getting lost in the background of the stage, which
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm getting kind of nostalgic just thinking about it, even though this product doesn't exist.
yeah, this would be
Like
a
that.
cool thing.
Yeah,
I think
it would
another
be.
thing, I think at this point we got to go into characters, right?
We do. We
Okay,
do.
so when we did this before, I don't know how your process worked, but I wrote down like every character that I thought was plausible for each era that we were planning on doing things for. Even if a character wasn't necessarily plausible for the era that they were introduced in, like say Zelda. She was introduced in the NES era with the original Legend of Zelda, but is there anything from that game that she can do as a character to fight a game? No, but I still wrote her down. And for the NES era, I wrote down 49 fucking characters that were plausible.
Jesus.
That said, there are a lot of them were just like, you're not happening, Bubbles. From Clue Land. Like, get out of here. You're not happening. I mentioned Zelda. She's not happening. Urban Champion. Not happening. You know who is happening? You know who is fucking guaranteed and is going to be in this fucking game?
Yeah.
Mario.
Oh, that's a surprise to me.
That's scary. I thought that you were surprised for this.
What about Koopa Troopa?
Not happening.
Okay.
This is a far cry from Sakura making Piranha Plant playable. When we did this before, the way that we have set about making this project for ourselves, and we did this early 2019, just to put that into perspective. We said, okay, each of us are going to create our own rosters of 8 characters each. And then we're going to discuss them, and much like we've done on our roster episodes on this show, we're going to merge our list together, and we're going to debate whichever characters that we disagreed on. One of those debates was lengthy, and we'll get into that. But I just want to go over first the characters that we actually pushed through and we agreed on easily. Obviously, Mario was one of them. We also both knew right away, you got to have Link. From The Legend of Zelda. He has to be there. Those are the two most have to be there characters of the bunch. Past that, the next one is Samus. Metroid was fucking huge at the time. You know what else was at the time? Kid Icarus. Pit. Gotta have Pit in there. Which, hey, both those last two were Gunpei Yokoi creations. So they're absolutely going to be in this game. Mystery of the Murasame Castle was also popular at the time. So we said Takamaru is in.
Mm-hmm.
And those were the only characters that we agreed on. After that, there were some other ones that were nominated that didn't make the cut. I had nominated Mr. Game & Watch from the Game & Watch, obviously. But we ended up not including him because there are more important choices and he can be added in as a legacy rep later on. We also did not include Ganon from The Legend of Zelda. I think the argument at the time was one character per series, probably. I'm going to guess was our argument. If we were going to have like a big villain representative, Ganon makes a lot of sense. But we didn't end up going with him. We also... Well, we'll talk about that one in a bit. But then other two that we ended up picking over Game & Watch and Ganon were previously mentioned Little Mac from Punch-Out! Punch-Out! Was liked at the time. People really liked it, so it makes sense to include Little Mac at that point. And then we also included another character that was very popular and not in Smash at all, unlike Takamaru, who's at least in his trophy, Ninten from the original Mother game, Earthbound Zero for us Americans. We threw him in. And then there was the big debate. The big one. Where we argued quite a while.
For days.
For several days we argued about this decision. The question was, do we include Donkey Kong from the arcade game Donkey Kong, where he's kidnapped a lady and Jumpman is trying to go rescue him, and he's in a couple other games? Or do we include Donkey Kong Jr., who in his own game is rescuing Donkey Kong from Mario? It was a difficult debate for us. On the one hand, Donkey Kong would be a heavyweight villain choice. Junior could also be a heavyweight, but we would have our first villain with Donkey Kong. Junior is actually a hero, though, so that kind of fits more in line with things. But Donkey Kong himself was also just in more games. So it was a big debate between those two characters. In the end, what happened was Jonno just didn't want to argue anymore. and he said, "Fuck you, fine, Donkey Kong." But
Yep.
to be honest, it could easily go either way, in my opinion. I will fully admit that part of the reason why I was hardcore on Donkey Kong was because it felt weird in my head saying we're adding in Junior when I also know with knowledge that I wasn't really supposed to be counting on at the time. But I also had my knowledge of like, we never see Donkey Kong Jr. again after the Super Nintendo. He's gone. He's a gone
Mhm.
character. So in my head, it was just really hard for me to make that disconnect, which is a large part of why I was making arguments. But we said for the good of the project, move the fuck on. And then Donkey Kong Jr. was never nominated ever again in another one of our rosters, which is honestly a
Mhm.
little
Oh, at
surprising.
that point, why would he? But yeah,
I mean, as a retro pick, as we like to do.
that's true. That's true.
But
Uh,
even beyond those characters, there are still several others that they could add in, and this was mostly just like a list of us choosing what we wanted, not strictly what was likely, but that was involved an element in it. But it was a lot of what we wanted to see, with just the likelihood being like a second thing to think about. But again,
mhm.
there's a fuck ton of possible characters we could have had.
Yeah, there definitely is. There definitely is. The DK Junior Donkey Kong debate that kind of kind of spurred the creation of this channel and podcast and what we do now. Because it's like
You
we're
could
committing
say
this
it was
much
our
time.
first Smasher Dash.
Yeah, yeah. And it was just as frustrating as other tiebreakers that we were a part of. So,
That's why we have
if
since
not
brought
more
on
so.
guests for when we know there's going to be a hard tiebreaker.
We should have done that for the first tournament of champions. My God,
We
but at
really
least we
should have.
weren't.
We were not
At
thinking
least we
about it at
weren't.
the time.
No, we were not. But yeah, the characters is an interesting prospect. It's just like every other um, element of this game. I mean, we've already decided it's a beat 'em up instead of a platform fighter, which is huge. A totally different play style and
Yeah.
move set. I mean, you could still do the 1v1 and play it on that field, which I imagine is what we're doing. But as opposed to like a story based stage beat 'em up. But you're still dealing with other limitations as well per the hardware. So how many characters are we including last time? I think we included what 8 to 10
We had
in our previous. I don't have
we
the
had
number.
8 in our roster count. That we
Okay.
had we had 11 total characters that were nominated, and we had to cut it down to 8.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Gotcha. Is that what we're kind of looking at now? Do you think are we looking at a similar roster
Honestly,
amount or
I think 8 is the upper limit of what I would expect in something like this. It could be as low as 6. I don't think it'd be 4. I think it'd be 6 to 8 if they can stretch it. 10,
mm-hmm.
but I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't expect it. I think if you do something like with 10, you're getting a clone scenario with Luigi and fucking. I'm not sure with the other kids we discussed. I'm not sure who would be like our second quote unquote clone, unless it's Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr.
Link and the old man at
Mr. and
that early
Mrs. Game
stage.
and
No.
Watch,
Yeah, there you go.
Little Mac and Mr. Oh, I don't think Mr. Dream existed. Little Mac and Mike Tyson.
Some loser like Glass Joe would actually work per the clone standard too.
I've
My goodness,
considered making a joke moveset for him before. I just haven't pulled the trigger on it yet.
that's funny. That would be good. That would be good. Yeah, I mean, you got your Mario, you got your Link, Samus, Pit, Takamaru. I think that's a solid 5. I know that we're not going into this saying we're spending time to build a roster. This is not what this episode's about. But I think those 5, I mean, we could probably safely say they're in regardless. Um, from there, it gets pretty murky. I mean, if you go for 6 alone, you have one character left.
Yeah.
One. And who's it going to be at that point? I think probably one of the two Kongs at that point.
I don't
Possibly.
no, I don't think so. I don't think so.
No?
Because if they're going for 6 characters, I don't think they go Donkey Kong or Junior because they're already connected to Mario. Assuming, of course, they're going to have completely different representation of each series with characters. I think it goes to either Ninten or Little Mac, and between them, I I think it's just whichever one is more popular at the time, and I don't know who that is.
Yeah, because
I
Punch
think
Out was always such
Little
a commodity in the West.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I think Little Mac fits the idea of this project better than Ninten,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't mean they can't make Ninten work.
Yeah, I mean, if it were a Russian roulette scenario, I'd probably say Little Mac. But you're right; it can go either way.
Ninten is my personal lean, but who knows?
Yeah. What if they toss some curveballs in there? What if they said, here's the guy from Kung Fu? Yeah, that's sort
I
of
don't
thing.
have a graphic for that character prepared, so I can't bring them up. I gave you a
But-
list of who I had prepared, and you threw me one I didn't.
Yep. But just thinking about the or Urban Champion. Like
Okay.
the characters from their own fighting beat 'em up things that they're doing or have done at the time.
Okay.
Be quite interesting.
We
So
could have gotten
one of them.
Wild Gunman. We could have gotten Ryu Hayabusa if they were adding in non-Nintendo characters. That's another question. Is there any room for non-Nintendo characters in this? Because there are amazing options that they could go for. Ryu Hayabusa, Simon Belmont, Solid Snake. I finally have started watching the Metal Gear games, so I'm getting some actual knowledge on those games now. There's Mega Man. You have fucking Fighter Infurion from Final Fantasies 1 and 2. You have Erdrick from Dragon Quest 3.
Mm-hmm. Pac-Man.
Bob and Bob. As you mentioned, Pac-Man. And yeah, sure, people go like, but he's just the yellow circle. What's about? He has art of his normal form on the boxes. Don't come talk to me about the
Pac-Land
pizza
existed
face.
back then too.
There's Bomberman. There's Bill Reiser, who at the time wasn't a bad character. There's Arthur from Ghosts and Goblins. There's good third-party choices that they could go for here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. A lot of whom did eventually make it into Smash because they're strong characters with a big legacy now. Yeah,
Literally only two
go
of the
third-party
third-party options I'd mentioned have made it in.
Mm-hmm.
Snake and Simon. The other two are not in.
Mega Man.
Oh yeah, Mega Man and Pac-Man.
Mega Man and Pac-Man. Yep. But yeah, the other ones are not in.
It's weird that Bomberman's not. It's weird that fucking
Yeah.
Rayman's not.
Yeah.
Where's Hayabusa?
Sakura's like-
Seriously.
Yeah. Rayman and Bomberman. Sakura's like, we have too many mans. Let's call our something arbitrary like that. I mean, especially Rayman has gotten the shaft so bad. Like, it's like, you can have a trophy. You can have a spirit. It's like, what? You can be DLC in Sparks of Hope.
The treatment he's gotten from Ubisoft is so weird.
It sucks.
He got a random revival on the Wii, which people fucking loved, and they loved the sequel on the Wii U, and then since then it's just been like, no, who? Right, who?
Yeah.
Oh, the DLC character from Sparks of Hope. Like,
Yep.
what?
Yep.
What?
Origins and Legends are such great games. I'm surprised. I mean, it writes itself. If we had something like a stage in the style of a Legend stage pulled from the game, I would be so happy with that in Rayman and Smash. Like, holy cow. But yeah, I don't see the appeal past kids, right? For like mass love for Rabbids or Minions because they play into this exact same humor, and both of them are so pervasive in their respective media. And now Nintendo is cooperating with both of those companies and both of those characters. So, okay. So it goes, though. Whatever. I don't hate Rabbids like I used to. I quite enjoy the games, but meh.
They're Rabbids at the start were like, oh, okay, sure. And then Rabbids became the Rayman franchise. And I think that's when a lot of us just like, okay, we never talk. This isn't okay anymore.
No. Absolutely. Yeah,
like a game or two with Rayman, or like give them a trilogy. But then when it just became like Rabbids and there's no more Rayman, it's like,
Yeah. Yeah. Seriously. Although Rayman did not come out around this time, so he's not on your list of third-party choices.
He did not exist yet. When did Rayman make the cut? Rayman didn't even make the cut until the GameCube era that we were working on. That's also when Banjo-Kazooie first became available because he was too late for Smash 64 in the way we set things up.
Oh, that's sad.
But we also had it's the weird thing is, here's the really weird thing about when we had set up this game. We set the cutoff date for 64 to be January 31st, 1998, just because we needed a date, and we didn't know. We tried to like estimate when Sakurai would have been working on the project plans for the games. A couple of the games we know when that happened. Like I think we know it for Smash 4, and we might know it for Ultimate. But for the others, we kind of had to like guesstimate.
Yeah.
But here's the fun thing: we set that date for the Smash 64 version of January 31st, 1998, and then the GameCube version we set as October 31st, 1999. I don't know why, but about like a year and close to 2 years later, and yet there were not very many characters that we had to choose from for either the N64 or GameCube versions, at least as far as like introducing new options. And N64 was pretty much just like, all right, you got Donkey Kong Country 3 now, and you got Pokemon. And then more Fire Emblem and Castlevania, and Doom. It's like, okay, that's all that was all the new things that were introduced for our N64 considerations. GameCube was just like, all right, you got more Pokemon, you got a new form of Ganondorf, you got Roy, he's our boy, and Rayman, Banjo-Kazooie, and Duke Nukem.
Oh, good thing we didn't put Duke Nukem in. Right?
We didn't. We didn't. We did add in Rayman and Banjo-Kazooie made the cut in. They both made the cut in the GameCube version. That's what we did.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. In another world, that's what happened.
Yeah. And that world probably keeps Banjo, or maybe keeps Rare with Nintendo. I don't know. Probably not. But we like to think that. Well, we also considered that back then Banjo did not count as a third-party choice, so he didn't count against our total for that.
Right. Oh, that's true. He didn't. That's very true. Yeah, him, Joanna Dark, Blast Core. There's characters that would have been on the table back then.
Yeah.
That aren't now. That would be cool. We'll get there.
Yeah. I would love to do this kind of game again. Now that it's been 3 years since we last did it. Ultimate is fully out, because when we worked on this before, it was mid-Ultimate DLC. Joker was the most recently revealed character at the time. How do I know this? Because when we were writing down Dragon Quest heroes, we wrote down Erdrick and not Hero. So that's how I know we were before they were revealed. Actually,
right. Oh, true.
Did we? Or was it? It was either before or right after. I'm honestly not sure. I would have to check the dates that this document was edited, and I'm not fucking doing that. Fuck no.
Yeah, is there room for third parties though in this scope? I think if you're capping at 6,
no,
probably not.
No,
probably not. Yeah,
even 8 is making it difficult unless again we have those 7 characters and just like, who do we add in for an 8th? Then it's like, okay, then maybe you can add in one third party, but then who? Who do you choose?
But at that point, I mean, let's say
it had to be somebody. It had to be somebody that like had a close relationship with Nintendo. I mean, like fucking close. And at that, I don't know who it would be. I'm not knowledgeable enough about what companies were best friends at the time. Maybe Mega Man. Mega Man would make sense, or a Square Enix rep. I could see Ryu Hayabusa.
Yep, there were a lot of the same players as back then. I mean, again, Square Enix had a much tighter relationship with Nintendo back then, before their fatal no disc movement for the N64 gutted their relationship and really shifted Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy's trajectory forever. though they have gotten friendlier in recent years. Yeah, Konami, Capcom, Square, and Enix, Namco, they were all pretty tight with Nintendo back then. I think Mega Man is probably the top choice, but Bomberman, Simon, Snake, Hayabusa could all happen if that's a huge if a third party were to happen. I could also see, and you're going to hate me because these are also characters you didn't mention, but I will briefly say.
I mean, you mentioned Double Dragon
Um,
earlier, so
Yeah, exactly. It's a beat 'em up. I could see Billy Lee or from Double Dragon or Kunio-kun from River City Rampage, which are two major fight beat 'em ups on the system. Uh, Michelangelo, just kidding. Uh, uh, that could happen, and there's some other first and second party picks you have here that could. I don't think we're gonna go. At best, I think we're getting, DK or DK Jr. Thank God we don't have to debate over them in this format.
this time.
Yeah, exactly. If we have if we have eight, it's going to be DK and DK Jr. I think if we had the eight, your next two, let's say Little Mac is the sixth, Ninten and DK or DK Jr. could easily be the seventh and eighth. Or
It makes
you
sense
go
to me.
another route.
Or you
Yeah,
go Balloon Fighter.
Yeah, Balloon Fighter was big at the time. It was Iwata's one of Iwata's first. That would be pretty cool. Or R.O.B. You said Yokoi worked on R.O.B.
That's true. Rob
They
would
wanted
make
to do
sense.
something, yeah. Then they could actually say
it's
yeah.
what they use to sell the NES in America, and they could be like, hey, maybe that's part of their promotion for the game overseas as well. Just like, you guys liked R.O.B. Here's R.O.B. in a video game. Beat up Mario with R.O.B.
Play as R.O.B. with R.O.B.
God,
Smash Brothers compatible with the robotic operating buddy.
that would not be possible. No.
It would be so.
That
bad.
said, if it was a platform fighter, R.O.B. as a stage, like you're fighting on R.O.B., that would be amazing. Just like his arms are out here, like you fight on top of his two hands, and then his head is another platform, and it's essentially Battlefield, but without the bottom platform.
Yeah,
and I guess the top platform will be wider, but yeah. I think any platform movement or hazards would be extremely limited on NES, even if they're able to do a platform fighter.
That's true. Yeah, and then that, unfortunately, I think at this point, you can nix your Peach or your Bowser or your Ganon, because I think at this point we're not doubling up on series because there's so much that we can pull over. And this is back in the day where the Urban Champion or Duck Hunt would be so freaking funny. Bach Rider or something. This is the era where these characters were kind of on a similar plateau as Mario and Link and Samus because it was the original. It was the progenitor era.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would be interesting. You could have Lolo in there instead of Kirby as a HAL rep.
True.
Yep. And Adventures of Lolo was pretty pervasive. They did have, I think, 3 puzzle games on the NES, and he was a fairly well-liked character at the time. Those are good games.
I mean, and they have several games that are like visual novel style too. You could do Goku from Yoyuki. You could do Danbei and Hikari from Shinru Nigashima. There's Ayumi Tachibana from the Famicom Detective Club series.
That's true. Yeah, find a way to make Ayumi work in that setting and beat him up. It might work. I mean, you just slam her suitcase around. There you go.
Yeah, it'd be easier than in a normal Smash
doing
system.
It now.
I've tried thinking about her, and I've struggled with
making You've even played the games. Yeah.
So somebody I still would like to do it, but I've definitely struggled making something for her.
Yep. Although, I mean, you could go Wrecking Crew maybe, because that's far enough removed from standard Mario if you wanted to. I mean, think of DK or DK Jr. and it's not happening, but Foreman Spike, he was popular at the time.
Yeah.
And he's going to be in the Illumination movie. Yeah.
He's going to be in the movie, which the trailer, for recording-wise, the trailer's releasing tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a trailer.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting a direct. So I'm assuming we're getting a trailer.
October 5th, 2022, everyone. This is where we're at.
This will be releasing, I think a couple days after the direct is when this is releasing. So, we don't know yet. We're excited to see what that's going to be like. And hopefully our excitement won't turn to ashes afterwards. But we'll see.
There's elements that I like about leaks and official stuff that's come out. And there's things that I decidedly don't like, but I also know this is just such new territory. We need to see it in action, and we'll give it its fair shake when we watch the direct.
Absolutely.
And then we'll talk shit about it in the next On Topic.
Absolutely.
Yep. Even if it's mostly positive, we will still find room to talk shit about it. It'll be great.
I mean, we're people on the internet. That's what we do.
Yep. I mean, Illumination, Chris Pratt. I mean, there you go. Although Chris Pratt will be the voice of Garfield, which is weird. Oh God, yeah, true. Yeah. I just remember Miyamoto standing next to a picture of Chris Pratt with like no context, and it was black and white. And I'm like, is Miyamoto like announcing Chris Pratt's death or something? Like, what is going on? And he's like, introducing the very talented Chris Pratt as Mario. You know, but I like Chris Pratt. It's just interesting. He has like, so many roles now.
Like if we were to have made a fan casting and like not included Charles Martinet, we would have never said Chris Pratt in a serious way. We would have never said Seth Rogen in a serious way. A couple of the casting, I don't remember who they are, but I know there was a few that I was like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Those two weren't them.
No, like Anya Taylor-Joy as Peach. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah, I think that could work. I don't remember who it was, but I think I liked Bowser's choice.
That's true. Let me look that up. Jack Black. Oh yeah.
Honestly, I see that. I think he'd make a better Donkey Kong, but I could see a Jack Black Bowser.
Keegan Michael Key is Toad.
Yes. That's their best casting decision right there. Hell yes.
I hope that Martinet, I mean, I'm of the opinion they had Tails and Sonic 2 be the voice actor from the video game, which is weird in hindsight because now Sonic and Knuckles are not. But if they can do that, Martinet could have been Mario and Luigi and Mario and Waluigi.
We also say that, but Idris Elba was fucking amazing as Knuckles.
He was. Idris Elba's great. Anything that he does is awesome, including Knuckles. Charles Martinet, I hope that at the very least he gets a lot of cameos. Like if there's a bunch of like random mooks walking around, like Goombas and Koopas and whatever,
he should absolutely voice the random generic enemies. Absolutely. Or a random dragon that pops in.
Yep. I just hope, he's a great voice actor. I understand that when we as gamers complain about this, we don't understand the translation from video game voice acting to movie voice acting.
A lot of people don't understand the change from just medias either, from video game to movie or from comic book to movie. There's a disconnect that like we want and we expect things to be a one-to-one translation, and that's just never possible. It's not.
Yeah.
Now, can Hollywood do a better fucking job? Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah, absolutely.
We can't expect one-to-one translations. The people that do, I got a word for you, and it's you're being ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope that they ask Charles. That's my one pipe dream to, come out of this 10 years later. He's like, oh yeah, I was asked to be Mario, and I was uncomfortable taking the job because I don't do well with movies, or whatever. But I mean, either way, I mean, it just kind of is what it is. There's no water under the bridge with Martinet. He's a great guy. and he makes a lot of money as Mario anyway. And kind of the cool thing about him not being the star of this movie is he can still go about his day-to-day life, not doing all these crazy interviews associated with being a movie star, and just scope under the radar because he's gone on record and said, I like being where I am because I am famous within a certain crowd, and then I could step out as the voice of Mario and go to the grocery store still.
That's fair. It's honestly fair.
Yeah, and he just
he
seems like
does
that
go
kind
to
of guy.
conventions though, because I get like we discussed before. I've met the guy.
You've been to,
I've
yeah,
got
you've
pictures
met
with
him.
him.
Trevor's met him. Yeah, yeah, you have, and now I need to do it basically, and then the trifecta will be complete. See, yeah, I would like to meet him.
So let's go to another topic at this point. Because we talked about a lot of different characters. We have more characters that we could talk about if we wanted to. But we've pretty much identified who the main ones are that would be a possibility, and we've identified a few that would not happen. Like, say, Daisy would not be happening in something like this, because she only exists in Super Mario Land as the damsel. She has even less going for her than Peach. At least Peach has Mario 2 at that point.
Yeah. Or as we realized at this point, Starman from Pro Wrestling isn't the most obvious pick. He wasn't even the main character in Pro Wrestling. It's just something that we Smash fans have coalesced around him, probably because he looks weird.
It's because he doesn't look like a generic dude like the main character fighter Hayabusa, and he's a Mexican luchador wrestler. So they've got that flavor that they can throw in with him.
Mm-hmm. Maybe when we talk N64 Smash, we can consider El Toro from Jackie Chan Adventures. Another luchador.
What? No. Yeah. Our next topic is stages. Now, we've thrown out two different possibilities of how the system could work, either as a very, very limited platform fighter, or take it more in a Double Dragon style with it being a beat 'em up kind of thing, in which case it'll be a flat plane, which is honestly a little bit disappointing. And that means every stage is essentially be the same thing. I don't know how those other games did it at the time to freshen things up. Maybe they threw out some hazards out there or something. I don't know. But what are some stages that you think we could see out there? I think we're guaranteed to get a Mario stage. Personally, I'm hoping for Bowser's Castle. We still haven't had it in Real Smash. It's one of the biggest possibilities for a stage that Smash has just not touched, and it's just wild to me. I think we're guaranteed to get something from Zelda. I think Metroid is a good choice. I could see Kid Icarus.
Yeah.
If it's a platform fighter, Balloon Fight could work. If it's a beat 'em up, Balloon Fight's definitely not going to work. But maybe a stage from Mother would work in a beat 'em up style. Put him on the streets of Podunk, the main town of that game.
Yeah. Podunk.
That's what it's called.
Anywhere in the USA. Yep. You and I both live in Podunk. We're on different parts of the map.
I used to live in Podunk.
Oh, true. I live on Podunk attached to the big city. It's kind of weird. Yeah, so stages. Finishing that lucha, thought it could also be Snow Pea from Mucha Lucha. Yeah. Snow Pea. Anyway,
way.
The stages. Yeah, I was gonna say Bowser's Castle. You're gonna say it's funny that it hasn't happened at this point. We both agree the Sticker Star horrible one does not count. There needs to be a proper Bowser's Castle stage. It's kind of crazy that it hasn't happened yet. It's one of the few creative decisions Sakurai and Nintendo have made doing the series that we flat out disagree with and should happen.
If I could only add one stage into Ultimate, it would be Bowser's Castle. And there are so many amazing stage opportunities. But I want Bowser's Castle.
Me too. I mean, it makes sense. It makes the most sense by far. It's a given. It has to. At this point, it's like K. Rool and Ridley and Banjo and all them that finally made it in. But a stage version of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, thinking in the scope of a beat 'em up, Balloon Fighter wouldn't quite work. Maybe they can make a gritty Mock Rider kind of stage like that. I don't know what that'd be called, like the Waste or something. Do a Hyrule Castle stage or Death Mountain for Zelda.
Ooh, I like Death Mountain.
Yeah. Death Mountain, toss some tech tykes out there or whatever. I was about to say something from Dreamland, but that doesn't exist yet. That's so
It doesn't.
weird. That's so weird. Boxing ring is obvious for Little Mac. I mean, still is even in a beat 'em up.
Actually,
Just what
boxing
the
ring
hell?
would be perfect as a beat 'em up stage.
Mm-hmm.
That's a
Yeah,
great idea.
absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
We can
Metroid. I mean, yeah.
yeah,
Sorry, what's
Metroid. Let's have another stage for Ridley to fly in the background of because he's too big.
up? What would that even be at that point? Just like a big Planet Zebus kind of thing, like they did in
Yeah,
64.
Zebus, or just call it Norfair.
Yeah, that's fair. That's Norfair.
Uh,
Underworld for Kid Icarus.
Mountain for the ice climbers.
Yeah. Fuck, we didn't even mention the Ice Climbers as a character.
We didn't, but I revealed them. I don't think ice climbers would make the cut in this scenario. You could put Medusa on the Underworld stage, have her being like in her tree form.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. That is very. I'm gonna go back to our character. Yeah, Medusa and her tree form would be cool. I think how like we approached it on you approached it on the Smashtopia wiki rather, with that initial area from the underworld would work
Yeah.
pretty well too. As a platform fighter perspective.
Right, right.
But we're not going that route. I forgot that for a split second. Mario, yeah, Bowser's Castle. If they did another Mario stage, I can see it being something based off of World 1-1.
Yeah, it would be Bowser's Castle and 1-1 would be the Mario stages, or something inspired from Mario 2, maybe.
Yeah. And if they wanted to get really weird, they could include like a Super Mario Land stage. I think that was Yokoi's title that he developed. So I mean, Tatenga and Daisy aren't making it in, but maybe Sarasa Land or something could.
Yeah.
That would be an offbeat choice when we have so few options. I mean, what are we dealing with? 6 to 8 stages to meet our 6 to 8 characters as well?
I think it's less than that. I think it's 4 to 6. I think it's 4 to 6 stages.
God. Well, let's say
especially considering
yeah.
they're going to be like, if it's a beat 'em up format, then the stages are going to be just a background to fight on. They're not even going to have like they might be able to throw some obstacles or hazards on there, but it's going to be a flat plane. If it's a platform fighter, we can mix it up a little bit more. But as a beat 'em up, no.
Yeah.
Like your options for stages have changed vastly when you look at platformer versus beat 'em up. Because again, like balloon fight can't be a beat 'em up stage. You can be a platformer though.
Say we did only 4 stages. I mean, we had 5 characters that we still agree all these years later are kind of locked in for the roster. Are there 4 stages that we would say are locked in? I mean, Bowser's Castle is one of them.
Yeah, Bowser's Castle. I think you have to have something from Zelda. I think you have to. What that would be strictly, I don't know what they would.
Yeah.
If it's like the overworld, if it's wherever they call Ganon's Castle in your dream, or maybe something from the Adventure of Link, since that game makes the cut here in the scenario. I'm not sure.
It could be Hyrule Castle, could be Ganon's Tower, could be Death Mountain, could be Lake Hylia.
Oh, that's right. Death Mountain.
Be just the opening area from the original Zelda. Make it kind of an ubiquitous overworld. You just call it Hyrule. I feel like that would be potentially something they would do at that point.
True. You could just call it Hyrule and just base it on the general overworld. I mean, it'd be a specific design to have a certain location to it. Maybe they'll have like Octoroks pop in from like the side of the screen and just like shoot rocks at people as a hazard. But they could just call it Hyrule. Easy done. Past that,
there you go.
mean, if we have only 2 more stages, I think Podunk is possible. They could do something with the layout where like you have your street and maybe like some of the corners you can't really find because that's where some houses are, so it limits the scope of the stage a little bit. Maybe that's an idea.
Yeah.
Looking at some of the characters that we have here that
or a Same
they could
Castle.
do something to. It's an option. I don't know much about its layout, so I can't speak too much to it. But that's something I was considering.
It's fairly large.
Oh,
there's
boxing ring.
There's Yohos. Oh yeah, fuck. I think you got 3 out of 4 locks here. Boxing ring is gonna happen. It's just so obvious for a beat 'em up or fighting game.
Yeah.
Hyrule, and Bowser's Castle. So what's your fourth?
Hyrule, Bowser's Castle, Boxing Ring. I kind of like Podunk, honestly. I like
All right.
Podunk for
I mean,
this.
at this point, I mean,
I think it's that,
it's a-
or if they can make a Metroid location work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And when you get into your potential 5th and 6th stage, maybe that's where you can say, okay, this is Norfair.
Yeah. Or you can have something like the Duck Fields. I don't know. I don't think that one's happening.
Yep.
Not in a beat 'em up style. No way.
That would be funny, but yeah.
But you could do Mountain for the Ice Climbers at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You could do your Murasame Castle. You could do maybe a Donkey Kong. I don't know. Considering how those games were originally, I don't know if that would really work.
I think at that point you might be modeling it after DK Jr. and making it just jungle.
Or Greenhouse.
Mm-hmm. True, yep. Freaking Stanley. There's a world where Stanley is playing this game.
You mentioned Makara, but we could even have like the Excitebiter Arena.
You could. Something from Yuyuki in the skies or whatever. I'm not quite familiar.
Yeah. If third party's an option, you could do like the underground in Dig Dug with Taizo Hori.
True. That would be fucking cool. You could do again like maybe they give you a top down kind of perspective on an Urban Champion area, since Urban Champion's the original beat 'em up, or for Nintendo anyway.
Yeah.
Or again,
I think
like,
that'd be too similar to Podunk.
True. Yeah, or the first few stages from Ninja Gaiden, or something from Mega Man. I mean, yeah, there's Dracula's Castle, even back in the day, would be super obvious if Simon Belmont were in. And these were characters too. I mean, they're all associated with what is it called? That one cartoon from back in the day, like the Saturday
Captain
Night.
N?
What was that?
Captain N?
Captain N. Yeah. Captain
and that
N,
had
as
Pit,
well
Mega
as
Man, and Simon.
Mother Brain, I think.
Yeah, Mother Brain was one of the villains. I can't remember who else they had on the villain side of things, but like Mega Man had green armor. Like all the characters look like vastly different from their actual appearances. But,
it was the 80s in America, that's for sure. And they also had the Legend of Zelda series. So, excuse me, princess.
There's that odd partial 3D Donkey Kong series, but that was more based on Donkey Kong Country. So we're also just like, again, moving past the cutoff date here.
That was such a bad show. It was so funny. It was so funny. Oh my god. And especially the fucking song, "You Make Love Like a Golden Banana," man. Who knew Donkey Kong was such a sensual R&B chanteuse?
I can tell you who didn't know that. I didn't know that.
He's like, "You make love like a golden banana." Anyway. Yeah, take that as you will. What Donkey Kong said. Yeah. I mean, there's good options.
See, I think that's pretty much our stages. And if it's a platformer, again, our options open up. I still like Bowser's Castle. But they could do, again, a fight on top of R.O.B. They could do a fight on the scaffolding of 25M. Why we got 75M in Smash Brawl instead of 25, I don't know. I still think
possibly
that's not a choice.
Stage outside of the
It's up there. Balloon fight is a possibility. You could do something like the Underworld. You could do something with Metroid at this point. You could do some things with Zelda. Again,
Wrecking Crew would practically be a 1-for-1 from Ultimate to the NES.
Yeah. Different. Well, I don't think the levels would be falling down in an NES version. I think that's beyond the scope of this here. But they could do something from one of the visual novel games, turning that into a location. They could do a
Yeah.
Mega Man stage if they really wanted to. We could get a
Mhm.
Bomberman. We could get a Murasame Castle at this point. Ice Climber
Mhm.
again.
Mhm.
We can get
Yeah.
there's more options at this point. Just like how we did Pac Maze in Smash 3DS. The maze from Pac-Man would be an amazing platformer choice.
What a horrible thing that that's not in Ultimate.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Pac-Maze is just an eyesore.
Yep. Pac-Land, but yep,
That's what I'm getting
it's bad. It's bad.
Yeah.
You could do
Uh,
Subcon, any number of things.
yeah,
From the platform
Subcon, you know,
perspective.
give something for old Toady Boy, who's
Yep.
the choice for if you want to go fast.
Wardy Boy as well, if only. But not even here. Is that a reality?
Yeah. So, all right. So we've got a director. We've got our characters. We've got our stages. There's really two other big points I want to cover here for an NES Smash.
Mhm.
Modes, first of all.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be extremely limited on modes. I think you're going to have
Oh,
your
yeah.
standard versus match where you can fight against a CPU. I don't even know there's going to be different difficulties to toggle on CPU. I think it might just
Mhm.
be CPU, and that's just what you get. And then, or you can play against a friend if you have one of those and you have a second controller. Maybe you don't. And then I think classic mode, or as it might be called at the time, arcade mode. I mean, hell, Smash
think it would be
64,
arcade mode,
64 didn't even call it classic mode. They called it 1P mode. So considering the times, I think it's going to be called arcade mode at that point. And you probably just fight a random group of characters. Master Hand may not even exist at this point. If it's a beat 'em up,
Kirby character,
I don't
pretty
think.
much, yeah.
Well, he was added to Kirby after the fact. But if it's a beat 'em up style, I don't think we have Master Hand. I don't know what kind of boss we might have if we did have one. Maybe they give you Bowser. Maybe Bowser's the boss of the game. Maybe it's Ganon. Maybe it's King Hippo. I'm not sure.
It would
King
be
Hippo
like
was...
yeah, King Hippo was at the time. It would work at least. Yeah, I think Bowser or Ganon would be a great obvious choice. Medusa
Metal
potentially.
Gear.
Metal Imagine. Or what was I going to say? They could go the route of Yoshi's 3D Island, and like how Bowser travels through time to fight Yoshi at the end, which is something that actually happens.
Oh, okay. That's the game you're talking about. Yoshi's on DS.
Yeah. Maybe Yokoi has a vision one night while developing the game. He's like, get that blue butterfly out of my head.
Fucker.
And then Taboo is the boss. Taboo passes through the corporeal space-time continuum and is playable.
I mean, to your credit, crossover fighting games often have original characters as the bosses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's not always, again. Sometimes they will merge two characters together like they did in Marvel's Capcom 3. Well, I guess that's not really an example because that character does exist in the comics too. Mm-hmm. But I'm trying to think of some examples besides Smash. But I know it's a thing. Soul Calibur will create a new original character for its boss each time, pretty much.
Yeah.
Tekken's gone from having Ogre to whoever the fuck else Tekken has. I don't know, guys. But I could see them doing something like that. Shit. I mean, hell, again, we just talked about it. Master Hand is an original character.
Yeah.
So Gunpei Yokoi could just make something up, and maybe it is a vaguely blue humanoid figure. I don't know. It's possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of like the idea of it being like a Donkey Kong, Ganon, or a Bowser. Like here's 4 boss characters that you can't play as, and every time you go through arcade mode, you'll randomly get one of them. I think that's a really cool idea. Bowser, Ganon, Donkey Kong, and maybe Ridley. Maybe those are your 4.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think those are the solid 4. if you go for 5 or want to get zesty, maybe King Hippo, and there you go.
Maybe it's the devil from Devil World.
Oh my God, he actually gets a place here.
I was wondering when I would work him in. He was the last character I had left to mention.
Yep. Imagine 1980s Hawkins, Indiana, as United States. And all of
Demogorgon.
Nintendo sense. Yeah.
I mean, he already was apparently localized as demon. So,
Yeah.
and even then, we know that the moms and dads back then would be like, demon, no.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Imagine Mario
Listen.
in this new Nintendo
Beat
of
up
this
a
title.
demon as Mario.
I don't know. Maybe that would actually be the good faith values after
You
that.
fight
Like,
R.O.B.
beat demons. Fight, yeah.
Honestly,
That would
I
be
like this idea of
cool.
different boss characters. Like maybe your arcade mode, like you fight all the other playable characters in order, or maybe you fight like 5, and it's just 5 random ones, and at the end, like you get one of these 4 random bosses. That's I like this idea. This is really cool. Well, that's not how this would work, but I like the idea.
Yep. Yeah.
If it's just one boss and it's not an original character, it's Bowser. 100% it's Bowser.
100%. I agree. Yeah, I think you're right. You get your versus mode. That's kind of probably the crux of it. That's the main thing.
That's the selling point.
And then, yeah, it's the selling point. Like, play with your friend. And it's like, whoa, it's the 80s, so I have friends because mobile phones don't actually exist yet.
The only way that you make friends back then is when your parents say get out of the house and they kick you out to go wander the streets for 8 hours. They said be back.
Yeah.
But if the streetlights aren't on yet, I better not fucking see you in this house.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's how you make friends. You got to survive somehow. You're asking other kids like how to fight for scraps in the garbage heap.
How do you think the gangs got formed?
I don't know. Too many 1v1s and Smash Brothers on the NES.
Well, they weren't arguing about Mario or Sonic yet because Sonic didn't exist yet.
Nope. It's Mario.
Sonic was 1991.
Yeah, he was.
Or was it 90?
Changed everything.
One of the two. But yeah, just like fuck.
Yeah, what did you even talk about back then? It's like, who's your favorite Urban Champion character to play? Was it the blue one or the green-haired one?
I like the red one.
That was also back in the day where they had the Nintendo helpline. Can you imagine kids calling in for this game?
Hey, how do I beat Ridley? You don't. Oh. Yeah, there's a bug. You literally can't beat him. So if you get him, you're just screwed. It's like, oh, what's screwed? Go ask your mom. Mom!
God damn. Anyway, I think those are your 2 modes. I mean, realistically, I don't think you're not getting an adventure mode. God no. Yeah, so I don't know if they want to do something unique, like give you like a sports style mode. I mean, it's a beat 'em up. You're on a top down kind of plane, kind of unique. So they could do like Smash Pong, Smash Volleyball.
I mean, we had that weird ass fucking slam your pucks around minigame in 3DS. What was that?
You could do that there. That could be the game. My God.
Sanrio Smash Ball, but as Smash Brothers.
Imagine or maybe maybe there could be like a jank kind of information or trophy system. Very very light. Maybe you get 10 to 20 still images that with a description you can win after playing arcade mode a certain number of times, and you can go there and visit it for a history lesson. Like, oh, you played the game as Mario, so you won the Mario sticker or receipt or trophy or whatever.
Like the trophies that you get in Melee for beating the game as each different character.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's just a still image. It's nothing fancy, so that way it could fit on the software.
You beat it as Mario. You beat Ridley.
Yep.
How, hacker? He's bugged.
Exactly. Or it could even just be like Super Mario Bros. Deluxe. You play through the game. You're unlocking different like wallpapers of character art. It could be that you play as Mario and you beat Ridley. Oh, look, you unlocked Mario and Ridley 8-bit art to look at.
Here's
In this
concept
collection.
designs for what Ridley was going to look like in the original Metroid. That'd be fucking
Mm-hmm.
cool.
Yeah, it would. It
When
would.
they get to see concept art for that shit, fuck.
Yeah, I think maybe a little extra mode like that, or something. If they did a mini game kind of thing or a side mode thing, it would kind of have to be like how Sakurai did it with Kirby's Adventure, where where Kirby mini games came around initially because he wanted something else for players to do. With a smaller game on the NES, and there's only so much they could do. So he said, "This is for kind of casual players. It's a one-button mini game that you can complete in about 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Could be something like that. Don't know what it would be, but it could be something like that.
What about
Um,
items? Is there room in this game for items?
there's room in the standard beat 'em up for items, but they're pretty rudimentary. Like in River City Rumble, you're picking up bats and you're picking up chains and swords and just kind of
True.
bludgeoning.
True.
Very, yeah. It might be that you might get something like the home run
You
bat or the beam
you could
sword
get
in this.
yeah, like they could make up a bat, which I'm not sure if Nintendo uses a bat in Mother or not. I haven't played the original Mother, but they could go with a bat. They could go with uh trying to think of things here. I'm looking at characters trying to think what do they have. You could take Ganon's trident. I'm not sure if he had a trident in the original Zelda or not, or if that was just
He
Link
does.
to the Past that does it.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking the Ice
Koopa
Climber's
shell.
hammers.
Yeah. Yeah, and if we're just going with the bludgeoning melee stuff, then yeah, for sure. And the fan from an original item, this might be a good room for the fan.
Yeah.
Or again the beam sword. Um, the hammer from Donkey Kong that they use, that could be something that can adapt to this format.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how you represent third parties. You make the vampire killer an item.
The ducks from Duck Hunt.
Yeah.
You toss them. Toss the ducks.
That'd be very therapeutic for a number of reasons. Toss the dog. R.O.B's operating discs.
I'm looking at these characters. There's a lot of hammers in Nintendo NES days. With Donkey Kong, with the Ice Climbers, with Foreman Spike, with Pit. They liked their hammers back then. You could get
That's true.
shurikens from Takamaru. Maybe some stages have items like maybe Podunk has trash cans that you could pick up and toss.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I think that's a great idea. Or rudimentary hazards as well. You can maybe have like a Podoboo in Bowser's Castle that flies around the stage or whatever.
You could do a super mushroom that instead of making you grow bigger, it just gives you like a attack boost.
Yeah, absolutely. Or a one-up that heals
Food
much
items from Ice Climber that heal you.
Yeah, absolutely. Eggplant wizard staff to turn your opponents into an eggplant that can't attack for a certain amount of time.
I don't know if that would work here.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
I don't know either. You're kind of pushing the boundaries indeed.
Maybe a wanted poster could randomly appear and kill somebody.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. Yeah, have the reticle show up from Duck Hunt or Wild Gunman or something and just shoot someone.
A Wild Gunman stage would actually work pretty well in a beat 'em up style too, because it's just
That
like
would be
Old
great.
West.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That would be pretty cool.
That would be the hazard for that stage. Just like a reticle will appear from a player's light gun.
Mm-hmm.
I like
As
that
for
idea.
the number of, me too. As for the number of items, I don't know.
It depends if they're all just going to be like generic. You just hit somebody with it or throw something, and they're all just like essentially reskins. Because if you have just like a baseball bat, a chain, a sword, they're all functionally going to be the same thing. Like they're in a beat 'em
Mm-hmm.
up style, they're all going to have like the exact same hitbox range. So at that point,
They are.
you could add in a lot of those probably.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Get into those 36 territories like Joy McFight's character roster.
You could throw the flipper from Balloon Fight.
You could. That should be simple enough. We can just throw a gun in there. Have Mario shoot everybody.
Why not? Give him
At that point in the 80s,
Bill
yeah.
Reiser's guns.
Yep. There you go. Yeah, I mean, you could say, oh, we're giving you Erdrick's blade, Arthur's lance, Simon's whip, Bill's gun, Ryu Hayabusa's katana,
Toad's head.
Toad's head, which was just cut with Ryu Hayabusa's katana. Vegetables from Super Mario Bros. 2 for
we've had another reason why the moms aren't going to like this game.
Nope.
Devil in Toad's head.
Play as Mario and disembowel your favorite video game characters. Imagine Gunpei Yokoi is like, we need an answer to Mortal Kombat.
Burn Duck Hunt alive with fireballs. That would sell the game right there.
Bestseller. Yep, absolutely.
Fuck.
God.
But here's the real question. Does this game succeed? Is there a sequel made on the Super Nintendo of this weird ass fucking game?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe so. Again, I think it's just the era, right? Mario, you have Mario teaches typing. You have Mario vacationing and no, like anything with Mario on it. He's such an icon at this point. Arguably more so, like the more people know him now, but per the ratio of the population of the countries that he was, I think that he was really at the height of his fame.
And even if like the gameplay doesn't work out too well, the game would sell like crazy. I think just on the sheer concept alone of fight Mario versus Link, Pit versus Samus, Donkey Kong and or Junior against Takamaru, Little Mac against Nintendo. This concept alone is going to make people go like, all of my favorite characters are here.
Yep.
Yes.
And then Takamaru would have the Martha Roy treatment in America, and suddenly there would be like 20 Murasame Castle games.
That's something we thought about too. It's just like, whatever characters we pick here are likely going to become bigger mainstays if they aren't already in this new Nintendo timeline. So we would get Takamaru having more appearances more than likely. That said, Captain Falcon happened. Now we haven't seen an F-Zero game since. So I don't know.
That's our good old buddy Miyamoto meddling around. He's like, I made it and I can fucking take it away. I don't fucking care.
At least we're finally getting Pikmin 4.
Seriously. Yeah, I'm excited for that. Yeah, it will succeed. It's why it succeeded on the N64, right? Like the N64, it was definitely good for the time, but you go back, it's kind of a mess, to be frank and honest. It's wildly outbalanced. Characters are OP. There's some crazy shit going on. But that game sold, even though Melee is such a huge step above in quality from 64.
Yeah.
64 sold, and it sold because of the crossover element. People love their crossovers. People have loved their crossovers for eternity.
That commercial back in the 80s, they had
of
these people in Mario, Pikachu, Yoshi, and I forget what the fourth costume was. I want to say it was Donkey Kong. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Like just seeing that song that they had, just seeing the four of them strolling through a fucking field, and then all of a sudden they all just turn each other and just start beating the shit out of each other with these costumes. It's like, I don't know who the fuck greenlighted this commercial, but that's amazing. That's what got my attention. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
is Mario punching Pikachu in the stomach? Does Donkey Kong have Yoshi in a headlock?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Good times.
If I had an
and
N64, I would have bought it. But I didn't have an N64. I had a PlayStation.
Yeah, I mean, not the worst choice with RPGs and all. When did Happy Together, the song, come out? It came out in 67. They could have literally made the same commercial with the same song.
So, okay, here's the question then. Let's say they do make the same commercial with the same song. Obviously, the characters are going to be different. Yoshi doesn't exist yet. Pikachu doesn't exist yet. Donkey Kong's not on our roster. So who are the other three alongside Mario in this commercial? These big old ballooned up costumes. Who's kicking the crap out of each other here? Which
Link?
4 of our 8 characters are beating each other up?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mario, of course, is there, as you said.
Yeah.
I do think, again, you have to have Link. It's the era. And he's their second biggest star. And there's no other Mario characters to really throw out there like Yoshi and DK. Samus? It? Maybe that's your 4.
I think it's Pit or... I think Little Mac's too easy. I think it's Pit or Ninten. Well, no, it wouldn't be Ninten because Ninten and Takamaru would both be new to America because neither of their games released stateside.
Oh, true.
So it would be either Pit or Little Mac.
Mm-hmm. I could see it being Little Mac. It's an American market.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, it's the boxing guy from Punch-Out. And then, as well, I mean, the American market will also say, oh, we don't want to see an angel beating people up.
Or getting beat up.
Even though he's not associated with Christian angels.
Oh, it's Greek mythology.
Yep. Oh, man. So, people are going to look up, like, Icarus now and be like, oh, what's Rob Stark doing here?
And then Takamaru comes in and hugs everyone.
I wish. I mean, he's fought aliens. He knows what he's doing. And Samurai at the same time.
Wait, is Takamaru Spider-Man? They've both fought aliens.
In another world, Takamaru certainly is. Maybe that's going to be across the Spider-Verse. Yeah, Takamaru is just Penny Parker from the feudal age.
What?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah. So Little Mac's there, and Samus and Mario and Link, and they're beating the shit out of each other.
Yes, I like this.
I would be down for a world where Punch-Out became much more popular because it's such an obvious thing to just do for every console. I don't think it would take a lot of dev time.
Like,
I want one on the Switch. I mean, yeah.
Wii was perfect for its revival with the fucking Wii remote nonsense.
Yeah.
Switch will work for 2. We've got the Joy-Cons. They can work the same way.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But that's where we're at. We even got the commercial down. Do we want to do the Japanese commercial too? I don't even know what that was.
I don't even know what that is, but I'm scared to learn about it.
It was probably more tame than the N64.
Have you seen the Japanese commercial for Mario RPG, sir? With the singing piranha plants?
Oh, yeah. I did see that. Is that why they got in Ultimate?
Probably.
I'm watching it right now.
The Mario RPG one or the Japanese Smash one?
Japanese Smash one.
Okay.
What the hell?
Is it worse?
No, it's not worse.
Is it boring?
A little bit. So what happens is there are children.
I don't like it already.
6, 7-year-old children walking in a field. So it's similar to the Smash Brothers Western commercial in that regard. You know, they're crossing the field of dreams and then beat the shit out of each other, the video game characters. But these people, they're walking through a field, and then they're saying like, oh, like look over there, and then they look towards the sun, and Congo jungle is there, like laid out in full 3D, and the children are like overlaid over real life in this field with the sun viewing over it. So it looks similar to Congo Jungle's backdrop. And the kids are like, what is that? Whoa! And then Mario and Pikachu and I think Yoshi and Kirby, they all show up. They're like, hi, kids. And then they start fighting, and it gets into the Smash Brothers gameplay.
That's weirder than the American commercial.
It's weirder for sure. It's not better, but it's weirder. It also wasn't what I expected. I don't know what I expected.
I don't know either.
So a bunch of children are going through a dark cavern, and like the guy, the thing from Goonies is, you know, the malformed guy is there, and they're like traveling a cave together, and then suddenly they drop their torches and they see Bowser's castle in the distance and characters fighting inside of it, and they're like, "Oh, hey kids, come play Smash Brothers."
Hey kid, you want to play some Smash Brothers? Follow me.
Don't put it past the 1980s to make a commercial like that either.
And then he opens the trench coat, and it's just like filled with copies of the game.
Yep. And like, here
but
you
they
go.
also suspiciously do not show below the waist.
Yeah, he's got just shorts, like short shorts made of Smash Brothers copies.
Maybe out of Kirby, and the kids are just like, "Who's that?" Oh, you'll find out about him later. He'll be in the sequel.
Oh, yes.
God.
Yes,
all right.
will.
Well, do we have anything else to discuss about NES Smash at this point? Any other avenues we need to explore or talk about? Anything we've missed?
Koji Kondo will make the soundtrack.
Yeah. Well, wait. Would they do that, or would they just port music straight from other games?
Oh, yeah. They would have an original song, or just like nothing playing on the start screen, and then they would use.
They'd have a 10-second jingle when you load up the main screen.
It would sound a lot like.
And then a 5-second jingle when they're showing the match results.
Mm-hmm. They would actually be our theme song from the Super Cast Brothers. There you go. Fairly majestic. Thanks, Kelly. Yeah, and then the stages themselves, like Bowser's Castle, will just have the Bowser's Castle from Super Mario Brothers play.
Do we think that they would have multiple musics for each stage? Like maybe we get Bowser's Castle, but then maybe we also get the classic 1-1, or could we get like some music from other stages? Like maybe because it's Bowser's Castle, maybe we get Metroid music on Bowser's Castle as well. So we get a Mario track and a Metroid track there. Maybe for Hyrule Castle, we get a Kid Icarus track. Maybe Punch Out gets an Urban Champion track. I don't.
Yeah. That can happen. I think whether they're toggling within their own series, like there's 2 Super Mario Brothers tracks or not on Bowser's Castle, I could see up to 2 tracks. Probably not.
Maybe it's not a track per stage. Maybe it's just like the 2 characters that are chosen. Maybe each character has their own track, and the music plays just like it just picks from the 2 characters that are chosen. So if you're doing Mario vs. Link, it'll play either Mario's music or Link's music.
Yeah,
that's what Marvel vs. Capcom 3 does.
Mm-hmm. That is a great workaround for the technical limitations too. I think that works, and then you're only having 6 to 8 tracks for the 6 to 8 characters. That helps cut back, actually.
Yeah, makes it easy.
That's cool. Yeah, let's do that.
All right, there it is.
All right, and the box
and then a unique track for the boss fight.
Mm-hmm.
Unless we have our 4 bosses, then maybe they each have their own track or something. I don't fucking know. Box art, man. NES box art is weird. NES box
That's
art is
true.
weird. Bad
It would
box art
just be a
Mega Man is
cutout
all I
of.
need to say.
It's a Nintendo official title, so they would be relenting on it. They would say there would be a cutout. It would say Smash Brothers underneath the cutout of the screenshot. Then you'd have a zoomed in screenshot of like Mario and Link fighting on a stage, and that would be it.
Yeah.
I
It
guess.
probably would just be 2 characters too, considering it's just a 2-player fighting game.
Yeah, agreed.
And I know, Famicom and NES box arts, they tend to be different. But I think it's hard to say. It's hard to say.
Yeah,
I think
it
they
is.
could fit
But,
more things on there. But there would definitely be
they could.
like in front would be Mario with Link about to attack, and maybe behind them you could see a couple other characters on some stage or something.
Yeah, again, probably Samus and Little Mac or Pit.
Yeah, they're the
Then the
more
Japanese
easily
box art.
marketable ones.
Yeah,
The
the
Japanese box
Famicom
art, they're all
art
fucking
is a
drunk
lot
at a
more
club.
interesting. And it's very well detailed. It's like this full box spread. It's nothing like the American version.
It's
And
4
then it
characters
says-
exploring a cave for some weird reason.
Yeah, there you go. And the children from the commercial are there. I don't know.
Honestly, it's the children dressed up as the characters. So one of them
There
is
you
wearing Mario's hat. Somebody's got Little Mac's gloves.
Mm-hmm. There you go. There you go. My God. And Sakurai, at 19 years old at this time, just barely missed the cut to not be a part of that photo shoot.
So Sakurai is seeing this game just being like, interesting. I can do better.
Yep.
Just give me a few years to work up your trust.
Yakoi says, I'm not giving up Smash Brothers. This has become such a boon for me. Then Sakurai just pulls a Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah, Gunpei, when Sakurai is making those comments, Gunpei Yokoi, like, he doesn't know why, but all of a sudden he just shivers uncontrollably. He's like, ooh, that's weird. Just, what? I don't know. I feel like I just got cursed. I'm sure it's fine. Maybe I should put devil in the game. Maybe that was a mistake.
They put the Virtual Boy as a character.
Virtual Boy as a stage.
There you go. The final boss is Hiroshi Yamauchi, and then he gets fired again.
The final boss is Tolero Boxer.
There you go. That works. Hi, Harry. How are you? Oh, man. I guess that kind of caps it off. I don't know where else to go with this.
No, I think we discussed everything there's discussed. We went over modes, director, characters, items, stages, commercials, music. We pretty much covered everything as far as I'm concerned. I don't think there'd be a how to play. I don't think there'd be options that you can customize. I think gameplay, I think they're just going to be... I think it's going to be... If it's beat 'em up style, there's going to be HP. If it's platform fighter, maybe they still go HP, or maybe they go percentage. It's hard to say. I think either way, there's still going to be that 2-minute time limit for each match. And if you don't... Actually, it might not even be a 2-minute time limit, because classic fighting games are, 60 or 99 seconds? So maybe that's a time limit. And you either knock them out, or whoever has the least amount of health when the time comes up.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I agree. I think the only room that we have left to really say now, I just thought of, we mentioned TV commercials. What about the radio commercial?
Nope. I don't even know if that exists. We're not doing it. We're moving on to the outro. Been a fun episode.
Smash Brothers. Only on the
interesting to talk
Nintendo
about.
Entertainment System. $59.99 at Toys R Us. Okay.
Okay.
It has been very interesting, yes.
Yeah, previously when we talked about this, we only ever talked about the roster. So getting to talk more about that was fun. I enjoyed this. Next time.
Yeah, me too.
It's our first Smashtopia of the season. And I'll tell you this. It's going to get spooky. We're doing a Halloween theme for this character. And all I'll really tell you is that it's a more serious choice than what we did for our Christmas themed episode last season. And I ain't telling you more than... And to be fair, it's a low bar. But I ain't telling you how far up higher that bar goes. We'll see you all then. Bye, everyone.
Suka suka. Cha cha cha.